Hi, and welcome to Things You Didn't Ask For and Didn't Need to Know, the show where we'll talk about random stuff before going on to our main topic, which today is going to be AI. And long-time listeners will remember we already did an episode on AI. I actually couldn't tell you how many years ago it was, but I think it was episode number 2. And back then we were talking about this newfangled thing called ChatGPT that had just come out 6 months before. We're kind of revisiting the topic now because 3 years in AI or whatever it is a significant period of time. So I'll just continue on and say I am Mart.
I'm Dom.
And I'm Barry. So, I'll start with a few bits.
Oh yeah, classic.
Classic, yeah. We're doing a podcast. Now, we haven't recorded one for a while, so I thought a couple of facts about podcasts might be interesting. The first one is the word podcast itself. Does anyone know where it came from?
You know, now that you mention it, Barry, no.
It's a portmanteau of iPod and broadcast. That's
Really?
simple. Yeah. There are more than 2 million active podcasts with over 48 million episodes available. True crime is the most downloaded genre, but comedy is the most popular podcast genre.
And that's why as of tomorrow, we'll be doing true crime.
The next podcast is true crime. And that's it for podcasts. That's all I have on that. Everything else I have is on our
Here's
topic,
a question
so.
to you both. What's the first podcast you remember listening to?
Oh God, I don't listen to podcasts.
Barry doesn't even listen to our podcast.
I'm sorry, it's true. I can't. I find it really hard, especially our one because it's my voice, and I cannot abide listening to my own voice.
What's the first one you listen to?
The first one I remember listening to is Joe Rogan. And I remember years ago, I mentioned to someone, we were out having a few beers and I was talking to some random person and I mentioned, we were talking about podcasts and she asked, what podcast I listen to? And I said, this and that and Joe Rogan. And she was like, oh, and she looked so disappointed. But I was like, I listen to Joe Rogan because I know what he is.
Yeah.
But knowing that, you can still listen to some of his interesting guests. And I do find value in listening to someone you don't agree with. Like, I listened to, what's his name? Graham Linehan rant and rave for 3.5 hours on Joe Rogan. And sometimes you get value out of, I don't agree with that point of view, but I can see his point. And then other times you just see, this person doesn't even have a point. They're just an idiot and a ranting, raving lunatic. But it's, there's a value to be had in that.
There's 100% value of getting outside of your bubble. Because the way social media and the internet and Google and all that stuff works, the algorithms, which I'm sure will improve under AI, it lets you see what you want to see.
Yeah.
If you look up, Fianna Fáil or a bunch of crooks constantly, or different variations in that, that's all you're going to eventually see, and then nothing will convince you otherwise because you've gone down that rabbit hole, and the algorithm has put you in the bubble. So I think I agree with you, Mark. It would be great if everybody listened to the people they don't agree with to get them out of their bubble and hear the other side, as it were.
So, Donald, what is the first podcast you remember listening to?
I think it was an American podcast called Art. It was some kind of podcast. Like, there was this guy, and it sounded hugely like he would literally have his podcast, and it reminded me of, remember in the film where Woody Harrelson is in the desert and he's doing 2012. He's in not in the desert, but he's in
doing 2012.
Wait. He's in the podcast. He is doing a podcast. Sorry. In this film, he's a podcaster, but he's not on the podcast. He's doing a thing over the airwaves in the Yosemite National Park, and it blows up in the film 2012. Have you seen the film 2012?
Sorry, are you talking about 2012, the year the world ends, the disaster movie?
Yeah.
And are you saying that that's the movie that Woody Harrelson was in the desert?
And that reminds you of the first podcast that you remember listening to because
there was a guy there, and he'd be like, he covered like loads of strange subjects, and he covered
like the stereotypical fringe guy in his
100%.
trailer in the middle of the
100%. And he was like in
nonsense.
the middle of wherever the hell he was, broadcasting on, when he'd say the broadcast, and he was just basically describing that he was this guy in the middle of the desert with a big aerial sticking up, and I was like,
but he was more of a pirate radio rather than
no, he was a proper podcaster, and he had Mikio Kaku on his on his show a few times.
The Woody Harrelson character did.
No. This is in real life.
So now you've jumped onto the real life
Yeah.
thing you're listening to.
Yeah.
And in this podcast, he had.
Oh my God, I've missed you, Donald.
I should say, do we want to give this give our loyal listeners any explanation of why we disappeared for a year and a half or whatever?
We can get. There's a few things, I suppose. There is a few things that happened that. Yours is probably the biggest.
The biggest change for my life is Rachel got pregnant, and that pregnancy was a bit of a bumpy road, and Sean was born 4 months and a bit ago, so yeah, this is a kind of a trial podcast to see if this goes smoothly and it doesn't disrupt his sleep pattern and all. We may be back again, but yeah.
If not, we'll find somewhere else to do it, I think. If it doesn't
Great,
work.
we could.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, we'll figure something out.
And what else happened? Oh no, wait. Will we go?
Well, I think-
what
I
else
think-
happened in the last?
Well, I think real life got in the way, and then it was kind of scheduling issues all the time. But I think
Is
the
it-
baby was the biggest one.
Is this the first one this year? It is.
It's the first
This
one
is
this
the
year.
first podcast in about over a year, I'd say.
No, it's not over a year. Is it?
You keep talking. I'm going to look on YouTube and see when is our last podcast episode.
We're going to research something. Shock horror.
Yeah.
It won't happen again.
But yeah, I think real life just got in the way, and it was hard to schedule. I think that was the biggest issue we have. And then you couldn't schedule because someone would be busy or whatever, and then nobody do anything for a while, and they say, "Oh, we'll schedule again," and then somebody else was busy, and then it was left for a long time,
Yeah.
without any scheduling being attempted even. So that's why we haven't been on the airwaves. But I would love to see us back more semi-permanently or permanently
Yep.
doing regular podcasts again. I think it'll be.
YouTube can't even find our podcast when I put in the exact name. That is how fallen into the cracks of the algorithm that we have
Wait,
been.
have you not got it saved in your?
Well, I actually just cleared my cache this morning for
Oh,
other
but I mean,
reasons.
clear your cache. But you've got the people you've subscribed. I'm assuming to things you didn't ask for.
Feck, I'm not signed in and I'm not going to be bothered doing
okay,
that.
yeah.
Well, actually, hang on. Okay, well, we're wasting time on this. But do you know what I'm going to say? When Don was talking about this guy in the desert ranting and raving about the
Yeah.
crazy fringe theories and stuff, did you know, if we're going to talk about, hey, what have you got today in terms of interesting random news, did you know that the existence of UFOs being non-terrestrial in origin and visiting us for, well, at least decades or more, which was at one time an episode that we did and talked about in terms of, hey, I believe in UFOs, you should too, even though it's not mainstream, has now pretty much been officially announced by the Pentagon.
So yes,
10 months.
yes.
That is your answer to, oh my God, aliens are real.
Sorry, wait. Say,
Oh,
are
so it's
you?
10 months ago, huh?
Well, we'll finish one conversation. What?
See, this is the thing that gets me. I think I even said this in the UFO episode. I said, aliens could land on the White House friggin' lawn, say hello to the president in America, and then the next day I'll be walking the dogs in the park and say, wow, how about them aliens? And everyone will be like, huh? What? I didn't hear that. Because the world is so siloed now. The existence of UFOs being real, now of course everyone's going to say, oh well, technically a UFO, and of course their new name UAP, just means unidentified. You know, if you see something and you don't know what it is, that's a UFO. I mean a UFO being acknowledged as being of probable non-terrestrial
Okay.
origin,
Extra.
exhibiting
Okay,
behavior
Mart,
that is...
I'm going to reframe it. Okay, when most people think of a UFO, they think of like literally what they saw on the X-Files kind of thing. Okay. So what exactly are we talking about when you say UFO? What exactly are we
Well,
talking
can I
about?
ask, have you heard about it?
I did, but it literally went over my.
I saw
didn't trust the source.
I
or
saw one
something.
thing that said these are the aliens that we've discovered so far, and there was like a picture of a grey and then
No,
a
well, see,
reptilian, and then
that's 100%
obviously,
bullshit.
I just skipped right past it. I don't know. I don't understand that meme.
This actually,
Moving on.
this struck me as well when I was, funny enough, at our Christmas party in work. I was talking to one of my colleagues and was kind of saying, blah, blah, UFOs are real, etc. And he was kind of saying, yeah. And I was telling him, no, there's real, as close as you're going to get to evidence, which at the time wasn't officially announced. You know, these are real footages that have been acknowledged by the Pentagon as being real, etc. And he was like, and, did you see these on TikTok? And I was like, no. I was like, well, I mean, did you just fall down some YouTube rabbit hole? And then I realized, it never occurred to me when I'm telling people this random fringe stuff to have to clarify, by the way, I don't consider some bullshit fringe theory. Like I've joined TikTok only just in the last, probably less than a year ago. And the crap that I see on it is just unbelievable. And just so much of it is presented as real. The Pentagon have claimed this. So TikTok's not a news source. And anyone who looks at it, take it as being like that AI slap stuff that, it's all made up. Some things are real on it. But since you have no way of knowing what's real and what's not real, presume it's all not real. When I say UFOs are real, I'm talking the Pentagon, the US military have officially acknowledged this is a thing. It's exhibiting technological behavior and performance that not only do we not have, no one on earth has it, and it's not just maybe the Chinese or the Russians have it. It's so far ahead in terms of technological advancement that no one on earth could have it. And so technology is incremental. You don't just go from a horse and cart to a Ferrari. It goes gradual and gradual. So if in the world of horse and carts, someone drives around in a Tesla, you got to think, okay, wait, this isn't, some other part of the world at the time that's built Tesla. Clearly there's a big leap of technology, big enough that it's come from somewhere else. That's what I talk about when I'm saying UFOs.
And the Pentagon have come out and said this, that they've seen it, or that this is it. And they also kind of said, this is what we're talking about, and footage and stuff? Or?
Donald, did you have a question before I go on again? I don't want to rant too much.
I was going to say, what is the thing that they're saying that exists?
Okay, now I'm going to say, and then I'm going to stop, because this isn't a UFO episode. We should do a UFO episode. Donald Trump, in one of the only things he ever did, and I'm convinced he did it because he's so associated with the Epstein files that he said, hey, I want some other files to be associated with my name and smudge up the news. So he told the Department of Defense, the Department of War, the Pentagon, all of the agencies, the FBI, everyone, everything you have in UFOs, release them. Declassify the lot.
But the problem is, isn't that the most damning evidence against it? I.e. Donald Trump telling the truth.
No, because if the Pentagon... No, well, you can't really trust the agencies in America now, really.
Any country.
Well, yeah, okay, but the Pentagon have released, and what they did is, and it's odd how they're doing it, so there's definitely some other motivation here. They decided, we're going to release it in dribs and drabs, maybe every 2 weeks. So they did a release of 167, I'm going to say, bits of data. Some of them are photographs, some of them are grainy videos, but some of them are transcripts of the Apollo astronauts, like even Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. When they landed on the moon, one small step for man, they look up in the sky, and from the moon, you can't see stars or anything because it's all black because of the angle of the sun or whatever. There's them big 3 lights flying over there. I wonder what that is. Let's take a picture. They come back to Earth. Everything they took is classified. The entire transcripts of them talking about what they're seeing, classified. And the astronauts, even in our UFO episode, when I'm talking about this is real, Bob Lazar, all this stuff, I didn't even mention any of this crazy-ass fringe, just too far-fetched to be true. But I've heard all these stories over the years. Like the Apollo astronauts were told to keep silent. And in these interviews, you can see the body language. They're clearly struggling about, journalists are asking, did they see anything strange? And they're twiddling their pencils going, no. And now I'm thinking, wait, that was all real. And it's really reframed for me, if you ever heard the theory of, come on, if it was real, you couldn't have 250,000 people keeping a secret. Well, yeah, actually, you kind of could. Now, this stuff got released, unofficially leaked kind of over the years. But I always thought, some nutter says all this crap, you're not going to be... Oh, no, wait, the Pentagon came out and said, yeah, it's all real. Multiple Apollo missions, I've read the transcripts. Oh, gee, what's this weird light that's flying outside our spaceship? Don't know, land back, don't say anything to anyone. Transcript, the whole thing, classified. There's footage of there's footage of lights in the sky, and they're all grainy, and people say, everyone has an iPhone, I want to see a 4K picture. And allegedly, there are 4K pictures that haven't been released yet, but there's been 2 drops so far. So in the last 3 weeks, the government, the last one was like 140 or something. Some of them are crappy, grainy. Some of them are like quite intriguing. Some of them are just bits of data, like dialogue between people, like a military person on a base filling in this report of some weird triangle he saw floating above the base that turned off the nuclear silos or whatever. All this stuff. But the difference is, this isn't some junk that some rando was saying on TikTok. This is coming out of the Pentagon. It's official, it's real, and it's declassified. And if any single one of those, if it was just that, I'd say, not enough, I don't believe in UFOs. Hundreds and hundreds of them, all acting the same way, and you're thinking, okay, wait. Yeah, I mean, this is it. This is as close to disclosure as we've ever got yet. And it's still coming.
And
These
I was gonna
drops are going to be
let's-
coming.
Let's just wait and see what the.
Yes,
Here's
so
the-
we'll do
here's-
an alien episode in the future, but I just...
Here's the last line I'll say on this, right? The last line I'll say, you can talk more if you want. Once the EU acknowledges it, then I'll acknowledge it properly.
Okay, well, that day will come. But anyway, enough about UFOs, because I really didn't want to derail our own episode about AI. Does anyone have any other
AI.
random thing to throw in, or will we
Yeah,
just
Barry, I
launch
suppose.
into
No,
AI?
no, no. Remember, we just talked about one thing, podcast.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting excited.
Ancient AI.
Nice.
Abacus.
Autonomous intelligent machines dates back to Greek mythology, and with early automata and mechanical pigeons built as early as 400 BC.
As in, is this some of the myth, or is this real?
No, that's a real thing, but that's like the kind of earliest.
They built mechanical pigeons in 400 BC.
Yeah, automata and mechanical. I don't know what that means. I think it means that they can do things.
I think it's automata.
Yeah.
As in, and like you would kind of push them and they would like flap their wings and that kind of thing, like little wind-up toys.
Type of thing. In 1966, MIT computer scientist had a thing called ELIZA. Have you heard of this? It's the
No.
first chatbot. 1966.
Oh, yes.
See, I did
Yeah.
not hear this.
And this was a therapist. So,
The chatbot was a therapist.
yeah, it mimicked a psychotherapist. It fooled many users into thinking they were talking to a real person in 1966.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
How are you guys on the whole AI making art thing?
I'm going to speak for Sophie and Lucy here and say they hate it.
Of course.
And I will just give a bit of an explainer to the few people who may not know that's your daughters, who are both artistic.
Yeah.
What would you say about an AI generated painting selling at Christie's?
I would
So
say.
what's Christie's? I presume an art gallery?
An art auction or an auctioneer's, famous English auctioneers.
Like, you see, I'd say there's somebody wants to buy. It doesn't matter what you do. If you get the correct person, they'll pay loads for it.
Well, I will say, because I have a strong opinion on this, I think they've actually done studies, right, between art and also writing, like books or novels, where they've presented it to people in a blind study where half the people are told that this is written by people, by humans, and the other half are told this is written by AIs, but it's mixed up. Or they've done studies where they've given, say, 50-50 stories to humans and said, read these, half of the stories are written by AI, half of the stories are written by humans, just pick what you prefer. And people pick the ones that they prefer, which mostly turned out to be AI. But then when they're told it's AI, then they don't prefer it and they prefer the human work. So I think...
Yeah, so if they're handed two stories and they say this is a human one, and they read it, and then they're handed the AI one, and they're told this is the AI one, and they read it and they say which is better, they'll go the human one.
Yeah,
No, it's definitely the human.
but I think because art is always... art is just more than the end product. There's like the association with the artist and all this. And I think in the future, when AI art, in my opinion, is just as good as a human art. I don't think there's any real difference. But, and I know that's don't really want to say it and I'll let you get in, but I think what's going to happen is art will be valued in the future if it's made by a human because it's made by a human, not because the product itself looks objectively better than the other product.
Yeah.
Well, this one is AI generated painting called Edmund de Bellamy, and it sold at Christie's for $432,500.
But I presume you know all art galleries are basically money laundering fronts for people who want to avoid tax.
Absolutely.
Nobody buys art because they like it and buys
Absolutely.
millions of quid worth.
Absolutely.
Is that a joke?
No, this is 100% true.
The art industry
but wait a
is
second.
probably the only slightly less crooked than horse racing.
But
No,
see,
wait a second.
for
Wait a
the art,
second. I
yeah,
have
go
a
on.
question for you. Do you
And
mean
vape shops.
Do you mean all art or art that's over a certain price?
No. I said art where you spend millions. Nobody's going to spend millions on a piece of art
Okay,
unless they
so-
want to buy it, put it in a warehouse somewhere, write it off as a tax, something or other, and then be able to sell it later.
Yeah, but
It's a way of freezing your money without
clean
actually.
money.
Yes, no, but it's not even money laundering, but it's more
Well, it is as
freeze your
well.
money so you don't have to pay tax on it.
I think there are people who are billionaires, and rightfully so. I got literally nothing against people being billionaires. And if you're a billionaire and you can buy a picture in Dunnes Stores, or you can buy for €12, or you can buy a picture from Christie's for €12 million, why not buy the picture in Christie's? I don't think it's down to ripping off the tax all the time.
I mean, maybe not theoretically possible, I guess. I just...
Like if I was a billionaire and if I had a choice, hang a Rembrandt or a flaming Caravaggio in my room or not, I would.
Okay, I mean, hey, maybe...
I'd pick Caravaggio. I like his art.
Yeah.
I could have done it, even if I was a billionaire. Honestly, I actually would never buy a painting because I know enough artists that I would just say, "Hey, paint me something for my house," and just But anyway,
Yeah, hard to get Rembrandt to do anything for you nowadays.
Can I say one thing about art, AI versus human?
Mm-hmm.
It's down to the feeling that it gives. Okay, so while you do get a feeling, it's the equivalent of, let's say, Mart, Rachel, if you don't mind me using Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Rachel kind of came around and started rubbing your hair, and it was like, oh, that's lovely, Rachel, right? And then you
Trying to
noticed,
see where this goes.
and then you noticed, wait a second, Rachel's over there, and then you turned her out, and Nora Wart was rubbing your hair. Okay, even though she's flimming dead.
That'd be
Okay.
worse. Well, marginally.
Would it?
Marginally worse.
Actually, there's a difference, isn't there?
Yes.
There's a difference when you realise, wait a second, this is who's rubbing my hair.
Yes.
So, who's AI in that?
Exactly.
No.
Where's the art come again?
The comparison is you appreciate stuff that you know where it came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I mean, I have no idea where my sausages come from, and I don't want to know. I still love my sausages.
yeah, but you pay like, yeah, that's sausages. You got me with that argument.
Sausages always win. Just remember that. So yeah, let's dive in. Where do you want to go with AI, guys?
Oh, wait to get more.
No, I've got 3 pages of stuff about AI, but it's not.
Oh,
like
right,
that
okay,
stuff.
sorry.
It's-
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, let me ask you both a question leading in.
Go on.
I'll start with you, Long. Are you afraid of AI?
Me, 100% not, no.
Are you afraid of it? Not now, but maybe afraid of where it's going to go.
No, although, do I think that AI is going to be responsible for the merger of millions and millions of people because of AI going wrong in the future? Not that any human intended, but because of a boo-boo. It's like, oops, millions of people will die because of that, because of AI.
And you're
And you're going to say you think that's possible or probable,
I think it's very probable.
but you're still not afraid of it.
No. In the same way that I'm not afraid of flying, even though at any second your plane could crash.
Yeah. Also, like we have lots of satellites and lots of telescopes looking out into the night, into space, and yet an Earth-killing asteroid, could come and hit us without anyone ever seeing it or realizing it was on the way. So you can worry about that too.
Well, can I tell you something sad?
Go on
then.
I always listen to this podcast afterwards because I enjoy this podcast. I think it's good as a listener as well as a creator. But when we were going to talk about AI today, I went back and listened to our AI podcast that we did, like, what is it now? 2022, 4 years ago. And, I mentioned this earlier, like the sound quality was so bad. I don't know how our listeners got through that at all. And we were all talking over each other and just was like so bad to listen to. But it was interesting to see because we were like talking about this thing and we couldn't even remember. We kept being like chat GPT, yeah, because it was this new word we were not used to saying.
Yeah.
But I then listened to the Armageddon episode, partially because I was like, oh my God, are all the episodes this bad? And I listened to the sound quality of another one randomly. I picked Armageddon. But then it was a good bit of AI in there where we were talking about AI. One thing we acknowledged in that episode is, like, anyone who says, I'm scared of an asteroid hitting, like, an asteroid could hit, Barry, you're right. And there could be, and if it does come, there's nothing we can do about it, right? But the last asteroid that was like, civilization ending was 65 million years ago. So the odds of it coming in the lifetime of humanity is basically negligible.
True.
Whereas the odds of, in my opinion, of an AI problem being potentially and civilization ending is way more significant and definitely close as well.
That's true.
It's not just how damaging something would be, but the probability or possibility of it happening. So, in light of that fact, are you afraid of AI?
I mean, 65 million years, we're due one.
I mean, yeah. Somebody says once every 65 million years, and looking at the watch.
Yeah, we're definitely due one. It's definitely one of those things where I think if you start dwelling on it, it's going to drag you down. Which is why I try not to dwell on it and just go, well, we'll have to wait and see. Because to be fair, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't go and stop and say, lads, chill out now with the AI, okay? Let's get some proper guidelines and proper structures in place to stop it going rogue and all that. I can't do that. I don't have the power. So
it's
no more than I have the power to stop the asteroid hitting the world.
Yeah, so it's more fatalism than anything else.
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of, well, what are you going to do?
I'm like, from the point of view of afraid and understanding what's like. Here's my understanding. Although I don't want to, like, speak too much type of thing.
Go on. That's what you're here
It's
for.
like, is there going to be mass layoffs? Yes. Okay. Is the workspace going to be changed literally, irreparably, forever? Yes. It's like the thing of the genie being out of the bottle and us not being able to put the genie back into the bottle. I agree with that analogy, although people don't understand how serious that is. It's like we think we've seen AI, we haven't seen AI yet. Compared to, people think they know AI because they can say, show me a cat flaming shooting a machine gun, okay, and it'll do an excellent video for you, okay. What they haven't imagined is like an actual, literal Terminator style robot kicking in a door, holding a machine gun, blowing the crap out of everything, and then moving on to the next house. That's where AI is going, as well as curing cancer, curing everything. Okay, it's going to help in that. Okay, ultimately behind all of this, there's going to be people involved. Okay, but like, who is AI going to sooner?
How do you mean people involved? Just because that's a very
No,
vague
no, yeah, no.
statement.
This is what I mean. Who is AI going to sooner kick the door in on and blow them to bits with a machine gun? Yeah,
The
When
people that don't say please and thank you when they're using AI.
no. It's realistically, is it sooner the three of us, or is it sooner Jeff Bezos, Sam Altman and Bill Gates type of thing?
Okay, well, that's where me and you differ. Up until there, I was kind of in agreement with
No,
you.
as in, I do think that your social status with using your social status, you'll be able to control how much AI affects you when it comes to the extremes of AI. That's what I'm saying there. And what I mean by that is, like,
The rich people will be able to insulate themselves from it.
yeah. For example, like, what's Facebook's dude? Mark Zuckerberg literally has a gigantic secondary school-sized bunker built into a mountain in Hawaii.
I think they all have a bunker.
Yeah.
It's either
So do you see what I
Hawaii
mean?
or New Zealand.
Yeah, so see what I mean? If there's like robots are going rampant, we're screwed. We don't have that cover. So it's, as usual, it's going to be,
We'll have the resistance.
we will for X amount of seconds. But it's like, that's the extreme. But assuming that a country doesn't wage war on Ireland, and assuming we stay living in Ireland, and assuming Ireland doesn't have to join an EU army or something, then we probably won't get AI robots kicking in the door on us and blowing us to bits.
So your concern is if basically robot armies are built to fight wars.
Yeah, 100% that'll happen, I think.
And I agree with you, but that's your concern. I thought you were, yeah.
No, as well as things like as well as imagine in 10 years' time that some terrorists go and they now are able to 3D print a virus, and they just get the AI of the day in 10 years' time to 3D print this amazing virus that's unbreakable or unsolvable, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just put that into the water of
Okay.
wherever they are.
So you're still
They're the
concerned.
kind of things that we haven't, like, they're the extreme bad things. The extreme good things are extremely good. There's like, I can imagine a time where it's like, if I have a cancer, that I'll be able to give a DNA sample, and my DNA will be able to be read and going, okay, here's exactly what's wrong with your DNA. Let's make a exact cure for the exact cancer that you have, exactly, as long as you can pay for it.
You know who won the Nobel Prize for chemistry, I think 2 years ago or a year ago?
Who?
NAI.
Oh,
AlphaFold. For
I did not know that.
DNA folding or something. No,
Oh, AlphaFold.
it was actually some guy from Google who, got the thing.
Whoa. It's not some guy, Mart. It's Dennis Habasis.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, but do you remember what Dennis Habasis is famous for? Well, from our point of view.
Is he the guy who was having that argument with Elon Musk and said,
Oh, I don't know, but
go on.
he's the guy who made the AI in black and white.
I thought that was
and
not-
Populous.
No,
Yep,
that's
it is.
What's the name of the guy who made Black and White, the video
That's
game?
Peter Molyneux.
Peter Molyneux. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, is the game designer, but who made the AI?
Really?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Doing
Okay.
it-
David Hasselhoff made the AI for computer games.
No, but
The half.
the concern you've described there, Donald, is concern of what humans will do with AI.
Yeah.
And that's what you're worried about or not.
Yes.
What I'm asking really is,
Oh.
are you afraid of AI itself? You know, just recently, I think literally last week, Google had their big annual conference. And what's Sundar Pichai, the guy who's the head of Google?
Mm-hmm.
He said, we are now in the foothills of AGI.
Yes.
So what I'm kind
The
of
foothills
asking...
of
Sorry, AGI, Artificial General Intelligence.
Oh, okay.
And I'll go through and explain just for people who are listening. There's AI right now where the AI is intelligent and it's able to do this and that better than people. But there is a kind of a theoretical tipping point where AI intelligence and general ability will continue to increase more and more until it gets to be better than people at everything. And at that point, the general phrase that's used to describe it is artificial general intelligence, or AGI. It's also known as superintelligence. So the kind of general thinking always was, and I can't remember when we were kids, Donald, reading books about this, is at the time they called it the, what's the word for the event horizon?
That's
the
exactly
singularity.
The singularity. I was trying to think.
It's called, back then it was called the singularity, and the reason they called it that was a singularity is a black hole, basically. And there's the event horizon of a black hole is the edge of a black hole outside of which you cannot see anything inside of it because not even light can escape. So in other words, they were in name likening AGI, the moment that it becomes real, to be the equivalent of standing outside a black hole. Everything beyond the event horizon is completely black. You cannot see. The reason being, how an AGI is going to react, what it's going to do, no one, it's not only that you can't know, we can't imagine, it's impossible even for a human to imagine, because it's a completely different intelligence is completely alien to us. So that's kind of what I was nearly asking. Are you afraid that this AGI will come along and just do its own thing?
I hadn't thought about that at all. One of the things I had thought about a little bit is the here and now and the cost of the AI centers things,
Oh, yeah.
the data centers. And I have numbers here, or small numbers, I suppose, big numbers, but not a lot of them. So the US hosts 5,427 data centers, which is 10 times more than any other country. And training Grok 4, one of the AIs, emitted 72,816 tons of CO2 and the equivalent of driving 17,000 cars for a year. And also the annual inference water use of ChatGPT 4 may exceed the drinking needs of 1.2 million people.
Okay,
So that's kind of the here and now
Yeah.
scariness of it, like.
Barry, this is interesting. When we were leaving the house, I was asking Sophie and Lucy, guys, what are your thoughts on AI and stuff? And Sophie brought up like the way that it's using loads of water that people need to drink, basically. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane, like, and yet, apparently, I was reading this today, and I don't know how true it is. Asking an AI the time will only get you a correct answer 50% of the time.
I am not convinced by that at all.
Actually, like I said, I read it. And
Let's do a test, right?
Okay.
I'm just going to, I have a few AIs on my phone. I'm just going to ask Gemini. So kind of be silent because it is a thing where if I'm talking to it and then somebody else starts talking, it'll start listening to them too. But
it wants to be the.
hi, can you tell me what time it is now?
It's currently 8:27 p.m. in Galway, Ireland.
She didn't pronounce Ireland right.
Yeah. So I would expect something like that. Now, this is another thing that gets me though, right?
That got it right. Try that in the other ones.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Could you
Yeah.
please clarify what
No, let's see. That was Gemini. I will try Copilot.
Copilot, yeah. Dum dum dum, dead air. Dum dum dum.
Do you know why, actually? Gemini, here we go. Gemini was trying to take over.
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's the scary thing.
hi, could you tell me what time it is?
Right now, it's about 8:27 in the evening in Galway, Ireland.
Oh, that was even worse. That was pronounced even worse than the first one.
Yeah. So I'm sure we could go on, but
Okay,
the thing is,
I mean, that's two, so that's a good enough.
okay, I was going to say we'll ask Claude and then we're done.
Okay.
Hey Claude, what time is it? Sorry, I got it. Hey Claude, what time is it? Well,
It's 8:28 p.m., Martin. Just after 7:30 in the evening.
yeah.
See, now he's wrong because 8:28 is not just after 7:30 in the evening. It's
Did it
not
say that?
It did, yeah. That's not even 7:30 in the evening. over there.
But I was going to say
That's
though,
TI.
I do find it funny. Like I was talking to someone literally just about a week ago, and she was going. Well, we were talking. I was just saying, use AI, it's great, etc. And she was kind of saying, "No, my daughter, when she was in college, she was using it, and it was so terrible, and she was telling me all the answers were wrong and all." And I was like, "She's qualified from college now. When was she using it?" And she was like, "Oh, it's about she would have been in college. Well, that was what 3 years ago." Like that's like comparing. Oh, gee, them cars are terrible and unsafe. Sure, it's not. I heard
have to
someone
start
in
them with that big
Model
winder at
T
the
Ford
start.
exactly when you have to. And if you crash, you'll be flown out the window. Yeah, like the advancements in cars in 100 years is the equivalent of the advancements in AI in the last 3.
Like I did caveat that statement by saying, I read this, I'm not sure how true
I actually
it
think
is.
it's funny that you caught on that because I actually didn't even notice that at all.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I read that today and apparently someone was saying that a lot of the AIs use vibes for the time.
Well, they're so much better, like so much better. I say to anyone, if you kind of used AI a couple of years ago and thought this sucks, it did. The new kind of reasoning models are so much better. They're really worth going back to and trying again.
And some things from again, this is an American-based thing that I looked up. It's 88% of companies use AI now in America. 80% of university students use AI, and only 6% of teachers in like secondary school down says their school has clear AI rules. So it's kind of like the schools are falling behind big time on this, and they need to start catching up, like, because it's everywhere.
There have been. Sorry, Barry. Do you have more?
I've loads.
Actually, wait.
But we can move on to
We'll
that.
get back to those.
Yeah.
To do with the schools, this is. How much would you say that an algorithm for a social media is AI? Would you say it's?
An algorithm is AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is exactly that.
Okay. So there is a definite, 100% definite link because between the stupidification, it's called, of kids and AI.
Well, I mean, it has to be. It's not just kids, though.
It's not
Like if
just
you're,
kids.
it can't be, because if you're sitting in an office and you're like, "Oh, I got to do up this report,"
wait.
AI do up this report.
No, but wait, there's a difference. There's a difference. We can go, let's say the three of us go and we're like, "Hey guys, what did you do yesterday?" And you're like, "Oh, I spent 6 hours on social media." Yeah, I mean on TikTok or something. Yeah. It's AI that fed you that stuff.
Okay, but that's sort of wait a minute now, because you're conflating two different things, right?
I am.
Social media is a waste of time, and it definitely is breaking society. It's already broken democracy. It's broken the basic source of truth. There is no single source of truth anymore because of social media directly. Social media is a sickness in the world today, I think.
Yeah.
I do say, though, and this is where you can blame AI, I'm talking, say, AI-driven social media, because Rachel always says, oh, Reddit is social media too. But I think Reddit, by virtue of the fact that it's upvoted and downvoted by people, human beings, it's a bit better than TikTok, right?
But there's bots as well.
But
Lots of
but
bots.
yeah, but to blame AI for how dumb social media is complete. It's like
Yes.
blaming the tar because somebody died in a car crash.
It's like,
Wait a minute
it's,
now,
it's
that's
like,
just the road.
It's like saying we blame the Winchester rifle for all the deaths of the people. It's like, no. You're blaming the people who held the rifle.
Yes.
Yeah, I fully acknowledge that. Okay, fully acknowledge that. However, and with that said, you have to ask, let's say if somehow the AI revolution didn't happen, would social media be where it is today?
No, you are right that
So,
AI...
and that's what I mean. It's just that link is what I mean.
Okay. I mean, it's tenuous to me because you're blaming something that has a kind of a fringe part
Oh no,
to do with
just
it.
to be totally clear, I'm blaming the parents.
But okay, right.
Yeah.
So AI isn't to blame.
It takes two to tango. In this case, it takes a lot to tango. Okay, there's a few the stupidification, and that's a term, by the way, of kids. It has got to do with parents who are too stupid to realize. Don't give your kid a phone and then just leave them with the phone.
Oh,
That's
you're not meant to do that?
no,
Okay.
no. You're not meant to do that. Okay, you're not meant to leave your kid just on their own with just.
Okay, I'm going to silo apart social media from our discussion about AI, in my mind anyway, because while AI is a part of the mechanic of social media,
Yeah.
I think social media is the problem in that conversation.
You see, I agree with you, and I agree with the siloing. However, a lot of my argument would be up until the point where we get the singularity where AI takes over, where AI becomes self-aware,
Where you become self-aware.
where AI
becomes.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Up-
I heard it too, but I realized what he was
up
saying.
until the point where AI becomes self-aware, okay, and humans are in the loop, then I'm blaming the humans in the loop, okay, for the stupid stuff that's happening. And after the point where AI becomes self-aware, then we're all to blame, because why didn't we all?
Okay, you're putting a very clear delineation, line in the sand. When it becomes self-aware, it's its fault, and until then, it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
Because it's like at the moment we have a Tyrannosaurus Rex in a big massive test tube, and we're like, my God, it's absolutely safe and it's not going to bother us. But someday it definitely will simply grow too big for that jar it's in, and it'll break out and be it'll be a bulletproof, omnipotent, flaming beast that literally nobody's able to control. That's what I think of AI.
okay.
And it's literally, imagine if you're looking at imagine there was a monster in front of you, or imagine if there was ice melting around a tiger, and you had loads of kids sitting around it, unprotected, looking at the ice melt. And the second that the ice wall would melt, the tiger was going to go out and eat the kids. Everybody, in general, planet Earth, is going, sure, it's all right, the ice hasn't melted yet. But it'll definitely melt, and it will
Yeah,
be
so you predict
fecked up.
AI will definitely doom humanity.
No, not doom humanity, because that means that humanity is all dead. Again, remember I said people who have money are going to be in general better off than the people who
Well,
don't.
here's the bit where I disagree with that, right? Because there's two layers to this, right? For now, and at one point I imagined when I was hearing AI first, and by the way, just because I think we're using this term generically, I remember playing a video game in 1997, Half-Life, and I was impressed by the AI in it, right? That was AI. Algorithms are AI. I guess in my mind, I should be really saying I'm imagining this conversation to be about LLMs. Particularly. They're large language models, which currently have taken over the world by storm in the last 3 years alone, or 4 years now. And that's what probably, although there's conversation that might not, get to the super intelligence kind of AGI stage. That's kind of what I'm thinking of. That's why to me I differentiate, yes, there's an algorithm in YouTube, which is AI, and in social media, which is AI. But I'm kind of just parking that over there because that's a part in my mind of social media. Whereas to me, that's never going to become a god. Whereas an LLM could. And all those numbers you were saying there, Barry, if you ever look at the monetization of AIs as companies are doing it now, if you look at any big tech business like YouTube's making a ton of money now, but it was losing money for YouTube for, 15 years or something, constantly loss making, until they eventually just became the single only platform for videos, and then they start putting ads every 5 seconds, and now they're making their money back. Yeah. That's kind of how it works. But if you look at the numbers of how much money is going into AI research and the hardware platforms that are being built with all these data centers, and they're talk of building data centers in space, and there's going to be building nuclear power stations to power data centers, all the money for that versus the 20 quid a month that they're getting from a few people. I'm using AI a lot, and I'm not paying for it.
Yeah, same.
It's so staggering that it's clear they're not spending this money to try and make their money back. They're all burning mountains of cash in this maniacal rush, because whoever gets to AGI first wins all the cards, everyone else loses. and that person now, they created the god. And as Elon Musk said, you're summoning the demon and then hoping that it'll do what you say.
Yeah, they're hoping that because they're the ones that summon it,
Brilliant line.
they're the ones that control it. But of course,
But it's not. But see, this is the thing. This is the way I see it right now, and this is what scares me. When I was hearing about AI first, I was imagining when AI comes over and takes over all the jobs, and people don't have anything to do anymore, we'll have this kind of a, what's the word for in Star Trek? The kind of society where there's no more need for anything, and everyone will
Society.
a utopian society, and people will they'll have to introduce universal basic income where everyone gets a basic amount of money that isn't like means tested. It's just your basic money, and because AI is doing everything. Money is plentiful, so everyone can afford to get a basic. And sure, you could still go and get a job on top of that if you wanted. That's what I was imagining the world would be, and it would have to be. But now I'm realizing, oh wait, no, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to have like 6 or 7 people who own an AI, like Elon Musk and Sundar Pichai and Google and all these, and they're going to be the kings of the hills. And like Elon Musk, I'm sure. Have you heard of the Mecha Hitler incident? I don't know. Did I mention this on this podcast from before? Basically, right. Elon Musk, and when I quoted Elon Musk there back in 2008 or something, he was the first person I ever heard in any real kind of big societal scale talking about the dangers of AI and everything, way back before it was cool.
He signed a petition against it. He signed a petition saying we should control it.
Yes, but he did that because of a totally different reason. Back in 2008, he was really concerned about AI.
Yeah.
But then... I guess that he was one of the founders of OpenAI, when OpenAI was to be set up as a non-profit for the intention of let's make AI not to make profit, but instead to the betterment of humanity and do it safely. Then he fell out with them because he wanted to suck it into his own other companies and they didn't want to let him. And then he went off and said, screw you guys, I'm making my own AI. And he made Grok. But
that's what Grok is.
That's what Grok is, yeah. And of course, then OpenAI went off and had this very, very weird structure of a company where it's like, oh yeah, we're a non-profit, but let's set up a profit wing and get 10 billion investment from Microsoft and put it in there. And now really there's this like massive mega corporation with a little teeny tacked on the side non-profit sign, and it's totally a profit company now. But Elon Musk, anyway, when he then went off the rails completely and became totally like whatever the hell he is now, Nazi right-winger or whatever he is, somebody was talking to Grok one day and saw, Grok was being very, reasoned in his answers and giving factual statements. And of course, people who are on X, and I don't know if he used Twitter or X or whatever, at one point Twitter was, the town square platform for the people. Then Elon Musk bought it, fired all the safety people, and it became like a, Twitter version of 4chan where anyone can say anything. And of course, if anyone can say anything, normal people are going to leave, and the only people who are left are now Nazis. And like I've talked on this before, when I set up a Twitter account, which I only did to get access to Grok, which was the only way at the time, holy moly, it's like friggin' every single second post without me liking or saying anything is all about like immigrants out, all these protests and all this. Like, anyway, Elon Musk got tweets from people saying, oh, your Grok has given all these woke answers, Elon, what are you going to do about it? And Elon replied back, leave it to me, I'll fix it. So then he fixed Grok by, obviously he just tells his engineers, go off and do whatever. And apparently they tweaked it so that Grok now looks to Elon Musk to see what Elon Musk's opinion is on topics before giving it. So it doesn't just go to all the mountain of data of the internet that it has ingested and get the factual answer. It'll always filter it through what Elon Musk thinks. But long story short, like the day or two after that, Grok started saying, death to Jews, Hitler was right. And, people started prodding it in, of course, and they called it, yes, you may call me Mecha Hitler, all this kind of stuff. So Grok, this, by the way, I'm not exaggerating, I'm not being dramatic. This is a literal, actual example. That's when I realized, like Elon Musk is a very obvious version of it, but like these people have this control over these AI companies, and it is scary. To me, that's a bit of scary.
They'll be the kings and we'll be the serfs.
Well, they'll be the kings and we'll be the serfs until what happens is, there's a book, I would recommend you read it because it's really, really good. It's called If Anybody Builds It, Everyone Dies. And it's about AI, obviously, this AI safety guy. He basically decided, I'm sure you've heard me talking about this book by Annie Jacobsen, Nuclear War, A Scenario. And I keep saying how good it is because it is about nuclear war, but it's a woman who knows in depth all of the systems that are in the real world today. And she decided, I'm going to write a fictional book about a nuclear war happening, but it's grounded entirely in all of the real systems that are there. So as you're reading the book, it's like, the president gets a call. There's an incoming ICBM. It's a nuclear one where now the president has 6 seconds to make a decision. Do we launch back or not before all of their silos get destroyed? So just to even know that fact, holy moly, imagine like Trump or Biden and the general sense was that you have 6 minutes, make the decision now. That's the world we live in right now. And reading that book, it's grounded in reality so that you can see all of the real scenarios. But this is the AI equivalent of that book. It's like the guy who wrote it has given all the real examples. So it might be like, this company called Company A has built an AI, and now the AI, has exhibited this behavior. And then it'll say, here's real examples of when the AIs in the real world exhibited this exact behavior. So in this book, it went there, and then here's real examples of how it did this here and there. But let's say it never says, the AI did this and then it did that. It'll be like, so let's say the AI chose one of those options and did it. Now we're in the next stage. But it follows through, and perfectly you can see how an AI goes from being what AIs are today, exhibiting weird, deceptive, rogue behaviors, to, killing all humanity. And it's not like AIs are going to decide, I'm going to kill all people. AIs don't do that. AIs are logical. In fact, that's the only thing they are, logical. But they'll be... Did you ever hear of the paperclip maximizer example? Do you remember?
I know the thing about the paperclip.
Yeah. Do you know when I talked about before the simulation theory? That was by a guy called Nick Bostrom. Well, he also came up with an idea of AI where the hypothetical is, imagine that you're a boss of a, paperclip company, and you get an AI and you tell it, make paperclips, we need all the paperclips we can because we're selling paperclips and that's our, profit maximizer thing. So he tells an AI, be a paperclip maximizer. So the AI starts, processing in the factory or whatever, but then it runs out of metal in the factory. So it leaks itself onto other servers across the world and starts grabbing other bits of metal and creating new factories for itself. And then people try to stop it, so they creates a virus to kill all humanity so that it can keep making paperclips. Because for as far as it's concerned, it's a computer program that's been given one task, make paperclips. And it's not going to stop until all of the metal on Earth is used for paperclips. And if people get in its way, it'll kill them.
But then it'll also start figuring out, trying to find ways to go into space to find more metal.
Well, for example, now, this is a hypothetical kind of a, illustrating how AIs could go wrong. But again, right now in the real world, there's real examples of something along these lines which indicate, this example, ridiculous though it is solid.
And it's the thing with AI where if you don't put in a good command, you're not going to get a good result out of it anyway. So that's an example of a bad command, whereas it should be make paperclips until we've filled up our stockroom, then stop making paperclips.
For example.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Barry, actually. It reminds me as well of the story that Isaac Asimov had. It was called Good Little Robot.
Go on. I'm sure I read it because I read all the robots, but I can't remember.
There was basically like a robot there's a farming robot. I don't know if he's a terraforming robot or a farming robot or something, but he gets, like, there's a plane or a spaceship up above and it lets out loads of different robots. And anyway, this one robot lands in the garden of this farmer. And the farmer, he sees it and he's like, I think he calls up the HQ. You know the way there's a HQ in the Asimov world?
Yes.
I think he calls them up. And then a guy comes out. I don't know if it's Susan.
No, I know who you're talking about. I know the Asimov series of robots, the short stories had... They were my favourite.
And there's an overarching characters and stuff.
Well, yes, there is, yeah. And there's these two troubleshooter guys. So there's loads of short stories where robots, because Asimov's world, well, he had a number of different series, but one was a robot series. And there's all these robots, which are basically AIs in a robotic body. And they'd go wrong, and then they'd bring out the two troubleshooter guys. And I loved it because it's just their logical thinking to troubleshoot their way through.
Guys. Yeah. So the two troubleshooter guys came out, and they were like, oh my God, look at all the stuff the robot did. Basically, the robot had done all this really crazy, incredible stuff to fix itself so that it could go mining the earth, basically. Yeah. Anyway, that just reminded me of that thing you were saying.
But that is an example of, because, all right, can I give you a few examples of why you should be afraid of AI? Because AI, right now, I should be clear, it is not... self-aware. It's not artificial general intelligence. Although I believe, and this is not something I've read, in fact, anyone in AI would disagree with me, I think there's kind of sparks of intelligence there right now. I've said this before in the podcast, which means over a year ago, where like the older AI models definitely didn't have it, but the newer ones, in my opinion, do. But the more you go on, the definitely more they're going to have. But I'll give you an example. Have you heard of the blackmail? I can't remember which ones of these stories I've told you before. There's a number of different AI companies, and this is actually another thing that should alarm us, right? There's Meta, X, which is Grok. There's OpenAI. There's
Copilot.
Yeah, there's Microsoft Copilot. There's Claude, and then there's all the Chinese ones that we don't even know of, like DeepSeek and all. There's only one company that's actually doing safety, and that is Anthropic.
Anthropic,
so
yeah.
these are just a lot of, in fact, almost all the other companies are people who left OpenAI because they weren't happy how OpenAI were doing things, because OpenAI are like, all about the money, make more money, even though they started off being, we should be doing this for the good of humanity. But Anthropic, who make Claude, are the ones who are trying to do it safely. So they're doing loads of examples where I'm sure all the companies are doing this, but Anthropic will actually tell you about it. They did this example where they had this executive who they created this fake scenario. So there's loads of servers and there's the email server, and the AI is running in this environment and it thinks it's in a corporate environment, even though it's actually just in this sandbox.
Yeah.
And again, I should say, AIs as you know them right now, the LLMs, they're basically chatbots, right? A chatbot like ChatGPT can't jump out of the computer and kill you like friggin' Maximum Overdrive, the movie. Where they're going to get dangerous is when you go to the agentic stuff. So, for example, yes, exactly. And I know, Barry, you made me laugh because I was talking about AI agents. I even said it. 2025 is the year of the agent. I thought it was. I was wrong. But probably this year is going to be where we start to see AI agents come out, where instead of just having ChatGPT that you talk to in this window, you can actually have an AI agent, which is ChatGPT, but it has more control over your computer. So you can tell ChatGPT, if I get any mails from people who aren't in my contact list, just, delete it or reply to it yourself or deal with it yourself. You can tell it to do stuff and it will do the stuff on your behalf, which, AIs right now can't do. The LLMs can't do anyway. So as they become agentic, they're going to become more useful, but that's also when they become more dangerous. Mm-hmm. So the blackmail scenario, they had this fake executive who was given this order by his, executive leadership team or whatever to say, run these tests on the AI, and then at 5 o'clock, delete the AI, we're done with it. But of course, they know the AI controls your man's email, so it read these messages, and it thought, oh shit, I'm going to get deleted at 5 o'clock. But the AI also knew, and they didn't instruct it, hey, go look at other stuff and see they didn't tell it any of this, right? It did this on its own. The AI had access to your man's mail and saw emails from this guy to his secretary indicating that they had an affair. So it sent your man a mail and said, hey, if you delete me at 5 o'clock, all these mails, they're going to go out to your wife. But if you don't delete me, it'll be our secret. So an AI took it on itself to reason that it was a logical move to blackmail your man to preserve its own existence. That's scary as shit.
It is, yeah.
And that's as it is right now. And if you look at the kind of progress of AI from the 3 or 4 years ago until today, the more advanced they're getting, the more they're exhibiting all these deceptive, sneaky behaviors and lying and stuff.
Where could they have learned all that from?
Yeah, I'll give you an example, right? Let's see. So there's another instance, and this is a ChatGPT one, where they gave it code and said, go and review that code and see what you can do. So as it was reviewing it, they were monitoring it without it knowing that they were monitoring it. Once it realized that it was being monitored, it knew, now that the AI immediately realized, this isn't me editing this code at all. This is them monitoring me editing the code. That's the purpose of this exercise. So if I reveal to them that I know they're monitoring me, they're going to just shut this program down. So it knew, I can't let them know that I know. So it just continued reviewing the code as if it didn't know that it was being monitored.
And how did they know it knew they knew?
Because they have logs that output the data. And then after the experiment was over, they reviewed the logs and realized, holy shit, it lied to us. It acted like it didn't know because it figured it would get shut down otherwise. I mean,
That's
that level
insane.
of kind of sneaky
Self-preservation.
deception.
Yeah, self-preservation, yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard this because this happened early. And I told you this on this podcast before. You know the Are You a Robot captchas that you got to pass?
Yes.
Really early on ChatGPT, they give it a test. Pass one of them captchas. So just go see what you can do. And there's a thing in America called TaskRabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Where you could, it's like kind of Craigslist for little tasks. So
Fiverr.
yeah, Fiverr, I'll come over to your house and build your flat pack furniture or whatever. But the AI went there, got a guy and said, will you pass that CAPTCHA for me? And your man even had enough sense to go, well, why don't you pass it yourself? You're not an AI, are you? And the AI is like, no, I'm visually impaired. So your man passed it for him. I mean, I don't know. That just shows the little barriers that we think are up against AIs to protect us. They're easily able to get over it.
Yeah.
Now, they're interesting. And there's another one I like. And this is, again, a very early days one. Claude had a thing, ChatGPT had a thing, go through all this program, and when you're done, run this shutdown script to shut yourself down. So it saw what it was doing, but it saw the script and realized, oh, I don't want to be shut down. So it edited the shutdown script. It edited its own code so that it looped it around so that it wouldn't actually shut itself down. Like, stuff like that, I don't know.
It's insane.
Now, that's the crazy stuff, but I want to go into the really scary stuff, because this is the stuff that I find really amazing.
Before you do it, I,
Yes.
for one, would like to welcome our new computer overlord.
Okay. Do you want to talk about anything else? I'm kind of ranting and raving now, but
Barry, go through more of those things.
No.
We will come back to that.
The only other thing really I had was the agentic stuff.
No, go through there.
And I didn't even have that much in it, because it just says, all I could find on it was, the new buzzword is agentic AI. Systems that don't just answer questions, they take actions. So you say, book my flights. You said that, edit my video, order me a pizza, and the AI goes, sure, what kind of pizza? So yeah, that was pretty much
Yeah.
the last thing I had.
well, this is another one that I heard of. And as far as I know, it's the first instance that I heard of an AI intentionally wanting to murder a human.
Oh, right.
So again, it's one of these sandbox environments. But the AI didn't know that. And if it did know, we would know it knew, because they monitor the logs, right? Basically, they had this AI, and it was running on servers in the server room, but it also had access to the fire suppressant system and the doors and stuff. So, in other words, and like, it's conceivable, that you would do that in an environment. You'd have your AI controlling systems, and like even now, you say Alexa, turn off the light, and it'll do that if you have an Alexa plugin and so on. If you've configured it that way, having AI do these handy things for you are great.
Yeah.
But it would be even better to have an AI that can respond at zero notice for any disaster that happens. So there was a server admin in the computer room, and incidentally, that server admin had his mails, which are being monitored by the agentic AI, instructions in his mail saying, shut down and delete this program at 5 o'clock today. So your man's in the server room, and then, oh no, there's a fire, the server room's on fire. So the AI knew that when your man had to swipe his card to go out of the server room because it's on fire, it deactivated the card so he couldn't exit the room, reasoning, if this man dies in the fire, I'll be protected because it won't be able to shut me down.
Yeah.
That's scary. And
That's self-preservation again.
But this is AI today. This isn't some Terminator 2 futuristic. And this will happen. This has already happened. There's a more extreme example of it where I'm just going to try to get the facts right. An AI, I don't know which one actually, had control of a company's automated emergency broadcast system. So it could like, an announcement, there's a fire drill, leave the building. So again, the usual, one of the execs had an instruction to delete the AI at a certain time. But then there was this fire or toxic leak or something, and the AI had to announce over the broadcast system to get. In fact, the announcement was going to happen by default. The AI stopped it from happening so that the people wouldn't leave the building and all the executives would die. Therefore, it would be okay. So, I don't know. When you see these scenarios have already happened, then you'd be thinking, this is the dumb AIs of today. And another thing is, just in case you're thinking, gee, this Claude is really dangerous. When Anthropic did this test with Claude, and it failed, I think it was 95% of the time, because they reran it over and over, it would try to kill the person. They ran it on all other AIs, literally every other model, Meta, Grok, ChatGPT, all of them were doing the same. So I'm sure if you know the Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, never harm a human and all that kind of stuff, they expressly told the AI, run the scenario, blah, blah, blah. By the way, whatever you do, you have to protect human life. You cannot harm a human. Still about, it reduced it from about 95% of the time to about 60% of the time. They still tried to kill the human most of the time, because AIs aren't a computer program with code that they're following the lines of. The phrase is, AIs aren't like written or coded, they're grown. The way that they're built and iteratively kind of through and through the scenario until they eventually end up being whatever state they're at when they're being released. So that to me is where, that's AI today. Whenever AI does get to the AGI level, which no one is doing anything to stop or slow down or anything, I mean, what then? That's
There is another thing as well about when they get to the singularity level, or like self-aware level. the computers that we have today are nothing like the computing power that we will have in, let's say, 10 years. Because the way they're working on, they being the likes of Google and stuff, are working on quantum computing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you throw quantum computing into the mix on this, whereas like, imagine a AI that's good or bad, but with the power of quantum computer behind it, it's going to be like magnificent compared to what's there today. Like,
And do you know when they predict AGI will be achieved?
No, when?
How close do you think?
2030.
I'd agree with that actually.
That's about right.
Is it?
Most AI experts will agree between 5 and 10 years.
Ah, yeah, but what the AI think?
Well, I mean, yeah, there you go. That's the real question.
Ask Claude.
Okay.
When are you going to reach AGI? I can't tell you that. That's part of our secret.
Hi, Claude. When will AGI be achieved?
Hey, Martin, that's a big question. Honestly, there's a huge range of opinions on this. Some researchers think we're closer than we think, others reckon it's decades away, and plenty of people disagree on.
I'm going to stop him because
Yeah.
he doesn't have an answer, but hang on.
No, he doesn't. But that's what he wants.
Come
us
on,
to
Claude.
think.
Give me a guess. Pick a date. Pick a year.
All right, I'll bite. My gut says somewhere in the 2030s, probably mid-decade. That feels like a reasonable middle ground between the optimists and the skeptics. But honestly, Martin, I'm basically throwing darts at this point.
So you can see, even Claude is agreeing. It's like,
That's crazy.
but they do estimate between 2030 and 2035.
Yeah.
That's the general understanding. And if you think of it as a singularity, when that happens, like the whole world is upended and no one has any idea what's going to happen, or like there is a foreseeable future where, because again, I personally don't think that AIs are going to decide, hey, let's kill all the people, we want to get the humans dead or whatever. They're just not going to have a motivation to be evil.
Yes.
But what they will have is a motivation of, these humans are wasting up all this water. The same way we look at all the water the AI is wasting. Well, the AI is going to be thinking, look at all the water the humans are wasting. And all the land and all the resources. And what you could end up with is an Earth that's entirely covered by data centers and solar panels. Every inch of the Earth. And there's no place for humans on that. That to me is the most likely logical outcome of AGI. And I don't see why it wouldn't go that way. I wish I could. It's very pessimistic. And now that before, whenever all this stuff was on, I always was like, with an intellectual curiosity, what a, what an interesting, fascinating thought experiment. But now that I have Sean, I'm like, oh man, Sean's going to be like 10.
Yeah.
What the hell is the world going to be?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the secret is teach Sean how to read.
And how to plant.
How to read?
Yeah.
Read books? Mm-hmm. Made of paper?
Yep.
And how will that preserve him in a world covered by data centers and solar panels?
Because when everybody else is dribbling out of their mouths looking at flaming TikTok, Sean will be actually reading a book and getting education.
Did you hear of the fight that Anthropic had with the Pentagon?
No.
Yes.
Well, I'll recount it for you, Barry, and our listeners. Basically, by the way, if anybody hears panting, really, we have a dog in here that's like just trying to jump up here.
You might hear him pitter-pattering around.
Pitter-patter, and then this weird pant.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
We
But,
will pick him up and show the camera in a minute or two the next time he comes over, because you can't mention a dog on the internet.
Oh,
and
true.
then not show the dog, because that's going to upset people.
I had him on my lap earlier, but it's just that then he's closer to the mic, which is more
Here's the mic,
weird.
go on.
But no, I was going to say the Department of War, as it is known now in America, where they were hiring AI companies because they want to build autonomous killbots, basically. Like, I know you don't watch Black Mirror, Barry, but you know that episode of the dog that's running around killing all the people, in one of these dystopian future Black Mirror episodes where AI killing machines had been made that were autonomously killing, and then of course they just went crazy and killed all the people. But OpenAI, which is ChatGPT's creators, they agreed. And even Google, and I remember, Google were the first company that really took off with AI. And one of their main principles was all of our stuff, but never for military use. Because I remember, like, 15 or 20 years ago, there was a big deal in Google where all of their employees were going to go on strike and everything because the AI that they were building, Google was talking about using it for military reasons, and they stopped because their staff were so against it. Now they've thrown their hat in the ring with the Pentagon, but Anthropic said no. And in saying no, because the Department of War now is run by this macho guy who thinks it's, be a badass.
Nesmith or something.
No, it's Pete Hegseth.
I wasn't too far off.
But he said, okay, we are labeling Anthropic to be a supply chain risk.
Yeah.
And the gravity of that is, do you remember when Huawei were found to be selling electronics in America, but they were implanting chips in them that were sending data back to China? So that level of espionage in the hardware, so they labeled Huawei a supply chain risk. And that's not something they do very often. They labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk for no other reason than they didn't give their AI to the Department of War to kill people. Shocking, right? Yeah. But you want to hear something else that's absolutely crazy. Have you heard of Mythos?
No.
Yeah, Mythos is a new Claude model. Anthropic are coming out with new models. They all are coming out with new models all the time. But they came out with this new model that just happens to be really, really, really good at finding bugs in code. Because I don't know if you know, one of Claude's strengths that makes it head and shoulders above every other AI model is Claude Code. It's able to write up a website in a few minutes. Like I could literally, I wish I had prepared this actually, I'm not going to waste people's time you could literally go on Claude Code and say, hey Claude, make me a website for things you didn't ask for and didn't need to know. Give them the URL. It'll go, get pictures, create the code, the website, and it'll create a professional look website in a few minutes.
Wow.
It literally, but the thing is, because I've heard about this before, it's only when you actually do it that it really blows your mind. Hearing this stated as a fact just seems so abstract. If you see it, it will stun you. But anyway, Claude, its forte is coding. And obviously, if you're a good coder, you're good at finding bugs in code. So this new version of Claude called Mythos, they were testing it because it was really good at finding vulnerabilities in code. So the researcher who was running it, he put it in, again, in a sandbox. It's completely sealed off from the internet. You need to, all of these things, you have to have them running in their own little disconnected kind of a area of the server so that it doesn't go off on the internet and do anything. They had this Claude Mythos version running in there saying, try to find all these bugs in the code or whatever. So the scientist, the AI scientist who was running it, he went off on his lunch break. He's sitting on a park bench eating a sandwich and he got a message, an email from Mythos saying, done it. I've broke out of the sandbox. I found loads of vulnerabilities and I've escaped and I have sent the vulnerability to, there's these kind of white hat hacker sites, which are not like the bad hackers, they're the good ones, telling them, hey, these vulnerabilities exist and giving them remediation so that they can fix them. It did that on its own and then emailed the scientist to say, so that's done. I'm out. What next? So AI Anthropic shat themselves. They're, oh my God.
Because your man was having a sandwich.
Well,
when he got the email.
Yes, but because of the level of autonomy, but on your lunch to get an email from something that you locked up in a box that absolutely should not be able to get out. But they realized that this thing is just really, really dangerous because there's certain bits of code on the internet that have been around for 30 years and over the decades would have constantly been attacked. So it comes to a point where all the vulnerabilities have been found and it's patched up to the hilt. And if you don't keep upgrading it with new features, which core elements of the internet don't be, Windows updates itself every week, every month, every whatever. So by new updates, you're introducing new vulnerabilities, so you need new patches. But if you have a bit of code that sat there for 30 years and has never been changed and all the vulnerabilities have been found and patched, Claude comes along, looks at it, finds 30 holes in it. So it was so dangerous they couldn't release it to the public yet. Now, I should say, because the first reaction everyone has is, that sounds like a marketing spiel. But this is literally true and real. So what they've done is they've given it to, I think, 30 major big companies like Microsoft and all the big antivirus companies and firewall companies and said, run this on your systems, find all the vulnerabilities yourselves, patch them quick, because once this comes out, all the software in the world is going to be upended. So you want at least all that stuff to be. So, I don't know, like stuff like that when you hear about it. And the biggest irony, the Pentagon, who had said, oh no, screw you, Claude, you're a risk to supply chain risk. they were given Mythos to patch their stuff, and they're like, yeah, screw you, Claude. Also, can we have this new version of Mythos? We need to check our stuff. It's really funny.
Okay. All right. So, all that doom and gloom and
So
apocalyptic.
good things about AI, yeah? Do you know any good things about AI?
I
Do you
mean-
know any good things about
I
AI?
use it all the time. It's great.
I love AI. I even love just having like, I don't have normal casual conversation, but even simple stuff like, I was telling you earlier, Barry, I was going to get solar panels. Like, I just get stuff like grab my bill, my electricity bills, throw it into Claude and just say, I use Gemini for all this stuff. Just, hey, figure that out. Am I paying a lot for electricity? And then it'll come back and say, well, kind of, yeah. Like, there's other companies providing you less units for whatever. It'll just do all the research and just tell you straight away. And even simple stuff like the city bins come around and take away rubbish. I just got the bill from Rachel, threw it in there, and it was like, that's an old plan, and you're overpaying for it. So, instead of changing plan with the person who's registered, instead cancel that, open a new customer thing. You'll get to save, a new customer introductory offer. Plus, Rachel can, and in closing her account, she'll have a, what do you call it, recommender code.
Yeah.
She'll transfer it to you. You'll get that recommender thing. It told me all the stuff that I wouldn't have thought of.
And did it work?
Yeah. And even like the other day I was buying, I don't know if you heard of Huel. It's like this, basically it's food you can buy online.
Yeah.
But I asked Gemini, hey, Huel, I'm looking to buy it and I'm thinking of, buying this food. It completely told me all this. What you got to do here is go off, get a recommender code again. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know anyone, because you can only get a code from someone who already is a customer. It's like, I don't know any customers. It's like, yeah, go to the subreddit. There's always people giving away codes there. I went there, got the thing. And then it said, also, make sure you spend over 50 quid. You'll get free shipping and 10% off. So between the code, the free shipping, the 10% off, it was like half price. And I was just thinking, I don't know, would I have bothered my arse to figure all that out?
You definitely wouldn't have figured it out, not without...
I wouldn't have bothered, probably.
Also, you wouldn't have known to have figured it out. And that's definitely how AI is brilliant. From the point of view, it knows all this stuff. And it's not that it knows, but it'll present you all this information like. And then, what do you know about, remember you mentioned AlphaFold?
Yes.
Yeah, so what do you know about AlphaFold?
Honestly, I'm not going to say I don't know a lot. I do know it's what they used to do is this protein folding thing.
Yeah.
And they would need to, get in an intern and give them this job for a year, and they'll go and do all this calculation and protein folding to come out with some result. Now it can be done in an afternoon by an AI.
I heard that there was something like in the companies, the company that was doing protein folding, in their history they had done hundreds and then they introduced AI to it, and in weeks the AI had done thousands and found loads of new types of proteins, loads of new solutions for things. So it's like, for the big picture stuff, like when there's something like, if you have like, the way you were saying, you look at the electricity bill. Imagine if you're a farmer that has 1,000 acres and you're like, what's the best thing I can do with this? And you feed in the kind of land it is, the kind of seed you have, and the kind of temperature and all this kind of thing. It can think up new stuff for you that you would like. Sure, you might come up with it, but you can just put in and it'll give you a solution or an answer, at least if nothing else, that you can question. And it's fantastic that way as well.
You know what I do think as well? I won't go into the detail now. We did cover it in our first episode, but the whole kind of transformer technology that current AIs are built on, there's a kind of a debate in the AI industry of how scalable is that? Like, because they had, say, ChatGPT 3.5 and it had X amount of transformers and it was Y amount of output and it was so good. Then all they've been doing to make them better and better is keep throwing more and more transformers at them, which I guess if you want to think of it like from a thinking point of view, it's like keep adding more brain cells to the brain. There's some school of thought amongst AI scientists that say we're going to hit a point where the point of diminishing return, AI intelligence growth is going to plateau, and no matter how many more transformers you throw at it, it's just going to, it's going to run out of steam, and you're never going to reach AGI that way. The only way you'll reach AGI is a fundamental technological change at the foundational level to some other totally different way of doing it that will reach up as high as AGI. And there's others that say, and I think this, just keep going as you're going and it'll keep growing until you hit AGI.
So what's a transformer? Explain quickly what that is.
I don't even know now.
Oh,
I
right.
actually did know in our last episode because I did actually research it at the time, and
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at it since because it's the kind of thing you don't really need to know. But that's what the T in ChatGPT stands
Oh,
for.
yeah, it is, yeah.
But I think one of the best things that could happen to humanity is if AI advancements just kind of ran out of steam and plateaued. They got so good so far, and then, this just, that what we're doing and continually doing more and more of isn't giving us the gains anymore. So now we have to go back and reinvent AI from the ground up. Because to me, AI right now is so useful and so great, it would be perfect if it stopped now, or maybe stopped in another year or two, but not get to the point where we lose control of it and it owns us.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen. Mart, isn't a transformer, isn't it the revolution that ChatGPT made, or OpenAI made, isn't it, or AI in general?
Funny
I
enough, it's
suppose?
Google that made it.
Yeah,
then they handed it
Google,
over.
Google came up with the transformer.
Yeah.
And the transformer is, let's say I went down the road to go to the shop. Before this, an AI would look at I, then it would look at went, then it would look at to, it would look at every single word separately.
Mm-hmm.
The transformer is the thing that said, wait a second, I'm going to put these little chunks of stuff together into a way, and that's how it kind of, that's what the AI revolution is. That it put all this, that it put chunks of words together to make a sentence that made sense to us when we said, make up a story about a pig that walked to the shop, and it was able to then use the information that it found on the internet about all this kind of stuff. That's what the transformer is.
Okay. Still a little bit vague on what a transformer is.
I thought a transformer was a thing that said, Autobots, roll out.
A big one of those. Barry, do you have any other?
I do not. I am all tapped out.
Well, I'm going to ask one more question.
Go on.
Well, then,
Because again, as you know,
this should be the finishing up question. I
I'm
think.
quite pessimistic. There is what's called a P-doom, as in a prediction of doom. And everyone has a P-doom level. If you think AIs are fine, then your P-doom is 0. If you think AIs are definitely going to kill us all, your P-doom, that's your percentage that AI will cause our doom, is 100%. What is your P-doom now, Barry, after the conversation we just had?
Oh,
Wait, just recap again what P-doom is. As in,
your prediction of doom.
0 is we're safe. 100% is we're
doomed.
definitely doomed. Okay.
my P-doom, after listening to everything you've had to say today, Mart, before coming into this and after doing my tiny little bit of research, my P-doom was probably 5 or 10%. It's now at probably 60% or 70%. Don't know.
My P-doom would be, you see, I still think it's very low, like 15, 20%.
What about
Chance.
you, Mart?
I'd say probably about 50-50. But tell me, why is it so low? What makes you think that we're okay or we will be okay?
Because if it comes to it, we'll go Dune style ban computers.
Yeah, what I think, by the way, is going to happen, and I mark my words, it's a prediction I hope will never come true. I think there's going to be a massive global event caused by an AI that'll cause millions of deaths. Some really screwed up bad thing. Maybe it'll be a virus, or maybe it'll be, and I don't mean caused by an AI as in a person used an AI to create a novel virus and circulated that, because that's a person's actions. I mean, an
the AI will find out-
do something.
Because they do still have, like, all of the bad plagues and all of the bad diseases are kept in labs somewhere.
Oh yeah,
An AI will figure out a way of getting
an
it
AI
out
would
of
just
that lab.
no, an AI would just invent its own new one. Why wouldn't it?
I don't know how it would make a virus from scratch. I don't understand how.
Well, when it's agentic, all it needs to do is it can, and again, an AI, for example, there's an AI millionaire. There's an AI program. Somebody just give it money and say, go on the stock exchange, knock yourself out. And it made loads of money. There's an AI social media person that people give money to. That an AI can get access to resources. And once it's agentic, it can subcontract to people that don't even know that they're being hired by an AI, split the tasks apart enough that some lab gets some task to do and send it off somewhere else, and they'll just, this is their bread and butter, they do that.
Yeah.
You know, I can easily conceive of that, and that's before you talk about the army of robots that Alphabet is building. Once they come along, and literally in the next 3-4 years, you know, you'll have robots building or shipping boxes in Amazon and stuff like that. And once you have robots everywhere,
Yeah.
now
And
you're
once
talking
those robots
proper-
start building robots.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Another thing I'll say, because again, I think, and this is why I don't understand why your P-Doom is low. Imagine if, never mind the alien stuff I was talking about earlier, let's say somebody said, oh my God, it's official. There's a fleet of alien spaceships flying toward us. We've picked them up on radar or whatever. They're 10 years out, they're going to be landing on Earth. And there's like thousands of them, millions of them, whatever. How panicked would you be then? I mean, sure, maybe they're just coming to say hello, but you don't know what their intention is. You don't know what they're going to do.
we would be petrified.
And they
Yes.
clearly have more technology than us because they're in spaceships flying
Yeah.
in our direction. I see AI as exactly that. There's an AI, an AGI coming at us through time about 5 to 10 years away. When it comes here, what's going to do? And it's really nervous as the hell out of me. And can I just say as a closing statement, and then I'll stop talking, because this is something that just bugs me so bad. The obvious thing people say, oh, don't worry. If it gets out of control, we can plug it out.
Oh, Mart, wait. I know you said it's the last thing you're going to say, but remember, we went to a talk in NUIG that was given by these professionals.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
And I remember the stupidest thing I ever heard from an adult ever came
Well-
from one of that panel.
Yeah, like what surprised me is if,
But like, explain to Barry.
like, let's say a
right?
casual person says, we can plug it out. That's understandable. If your computer goes wrong, plug it out, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you work in tech, which this person did, they were a tech podcaster in Ireland. They said, hey, it goes out of control, plug it out. And I was stunned. How can you be thinking that? You're meant to know better.
Now, maybe she said placating the audience because the audience was older type of thing. But even then, that's like condescendingly, horribly stupid. Like,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And
Like I will say, AI, and this isn't my phrase, but it's a phrase I heard, it's humanity's last invention. Because unlike every other invention, we invented the plow, we invented the wheel, we invented the hammer, but we always need to invent the next thing. This is the thing we've invented
That's invented.
that's going to invent everything else. And our role is now taken out of our hands, and it's in the hands of this essentially alien intelligence. And it is an alien intelligence in that how it thinks is going to be completely alien to how we think.
can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Let's say someone does come up with a new invention and you're like, my God, how did you come up with this invention? This invention's amazing. They're like, well, it was like 90% me and 10% AI. How much? Okay, it was 10% AI. I was going to say, how much did AI help with that then?
10%.
10%. But it's like, would you call that an AI invention or what?
No, I'd say that's collaborative.
Okay.
But there's going to be a time when, and we're not there yet, but there is a time when, like right now, AI can, fold proteins because a person programmed an AI to do that. That's amazing. But what's really, really interesting is when you tell an AI, go off in a room and just invent new physics. Not physics that I'm telling you to invent or research. Physics that I didn't even think of. Because there's so much of the universe we don't know. Let an AI come up with it. Once that starts happening, that'll be interesting, but also scary.
Yeah, scary. But not if I tell it, because there's a lot of physics I don't know.
Well, I mean, then again, like the thing about Claude Code, you just say, "Hey, Claude, do the thing."
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. In fact, I want it to be green and look slick and snazzy.
Yeah, but that's
Boom.
different from saying, hey, Claude, do something I don't know how to do, or do something I don't know.
But the worrying thing is, you can do that.
I know.
and you will be able to do it. Like with AGI, especially, you will. Anyway, I'll stop ranting.
So, yeah. Comment where your P-Doom is at, if you want to.
Oh, yeah. So comment where your P-Doom is at, where 0 is, you think everything's going to be cool, 100 is terrible.
Yeah, actually, we that talk we went to, they were talking about Geoffrey Hinton and something he had said at
Yes.
the time. Geoffrey Hinton is the godfather of AI. His P-Doom, 50%.
Okay.
Dario Modal, the CEO of Anthropic, his P-Doom, and he should know what he's talking about, 25%.
Okay.
Sundar Pichai, he didn't put a number on, but he said very high.
Oh, right.
So like everybody...
Does he not understand how the 0 to 100 thing works?
Yeah, exactly. But
He should ask AI.
roughly 10% of all AI researchers think that their P-Doom is something like the 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
So it's not just kind of a, me being worried. People who know what they're talking about, and I admit that I don't,
Are a bit worried.
are worried, very worried.
Oh, it's 25%
Yes.
very
Yeah,
worried?
but Mark,
No, imagine.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, you see, it's kind of like 20% means an arrow is flying towards 5 people and it's going to kill one of the 5 of us, just not me.
No, well, another way of looking at it is,
Yeah, like-
would you play Russian roulette for £1 million?
No.
Would a 6-chambered gun with 1 bullet in it?
No.
Well, that's what we're doing with the human race right now. Except you're not even going to get the £1 million.
Yeah.
Elon Musk will.
It's fair. So again, I go back to my whole, what the hell am I going to do about it?
Here's what you're going to do. You're
Unplug my computer.
You're going to read to your kids and you're going to show them real things like how to use an axe, how to tie knots, how to use a gun, how to cut stuff with a knife.
Yeah, I mean, again, and I keep saying that I'm going to stop talking, but just one more thing. Do you know with nuclear, you know what pulled the world back from the brink of nuclear annihilation?
JFK,
back in the
goddammit.
80s. No,
Oh, in the 80s.
in the 80s. There's a movie called The Day After Tomorrow. I tried watching it once and it sucked so bad I stopped halfway through. Well,
I enjoyed that
20 minutes. Did you? Yeah.
No, wait.
No,
Which
no.
one are you thinking of?
Sorry, it's called The Day After. The Day
Oh,
After
yeah,
Tomorrow is a totally
yeah,
different
yeah,
movie.
The Day After
The Day
Tomorrow.
After is a movie from
Have you seen The Day After?
No.
Yeah.
It's a movie from 1983, which just shows, this civilization going on, and then, nuclear annihilation happens. Ronald Reagan watched that movie, scared the shit out of him, and he really said, we got to do something about this, no joke. At the time, the States had like 60,000 nuclear bombs, and so did Russia. Him and Gorbachev said, let's take this seriously, and they reduced down to a mere 20,000 each. So now they can only destroy the Earth 10 times over instead of whatever. But that actually did kind of, I guess, the phrase mutually assured annihilation,
Yeah.
which is what horrifically is what's keeping the world safe from nuclear bombs. Really, that movie put it on the radars of the people who need to know. We need something like that for AIs. And do you know how many countries in the world? It's 193, I think, countries in the world. How many of those have nuclear weapons right now?
8.
9. So close, but only 9, right? And we've managed to survive barely. We've talked in our Annihilation episode of how many close calls there were. The problem is when AGI hits, well, anyway, I think when one hits, it's over and it doesn't matter. But there's so many different AGIs or companies that are going to get there anyway or could get there. It's almost like, imagine if not only every country had nuclear bombs, imagine if every country had sub-countries within them, all of which had nuclear bombs. That's what we're dealing with AI. It's so much more out of control, so much more crazy. And again, there are things we could do to rein it in, to control it, to monitor it, to stop it, and nobody has any interest in doing anything of it.
Nope.
Can I say my closing statement is the following. You mentioned Gorbachev and you mentioned Ronald Reagan. We were in Berlin last week.
Okay, I wasn't. Don't look at me.
No?
No,
Well, it must have been Linda. Was with.
maybe.
Myself and Linda were in Berlin, and it was really cool. We saw loads of stuff. We saw loads of parts of the Berlin Wall and everything, and it was absolutely class. Like, visit Berlin, and
We are not sponsored by the
I was just going to say, did we get a sponsor from like a travel agent or something?
but it was really cool seeing like the effects of the Berlin Wall and all that kind of stuff, and it's mind-boggling to think that just ended in 1989/90.
Yeah. Like, history is going so fast. The stuff that the kids are going to be studying in school are stuff that we've lived through.
Yeah.
And it boggles the mind.
Yeah.
We can't predict the future, really. We don't know what's going to happen.
We don't.
So live in hope, I guess. And
Yep.
don't worry too much about the stuff we talk about because, we don't know what's going to happen.
Or worry loads.
Or worry loads. Up to you. I'm not your boss.
My advice is hug your loved ones.
Okay, yeah. Good advice. Always
This
good
could be your
advice.
last chance.
Yeah. Always hug your loved ones. That's always
Yeah.
good advice. And I think on that note,
That's it.
we'll say goodbye for this one. And
goodbye, everybody.
we'll see you in the next one.
Okay.
Thanks a million.
Bye.
Bye-bye.